What's going on, people? Wanted to show you something that I received possibly from the Bigfoot, but really explain why it is that I think it may be a gift from them. As you can see, I have tons of mineral specimens. They're just avalanching themselves into my life right now. My focus has been on crystals and minerals. Been kind of focusing my thoughts over into that realm from the Bigfoot world because I have Bigfoot where I live, so I don't have to go searching so hard. And the other beauty is I can have interaction because I've established that contact over the last few years. So by feeding them and stuff and leaving things out, but I've been out crystal hunting too, just finding some cool Colorado crystals. Not even my best stuff, but I found that. And just some cool minerals out there that I've been acquiring myself, but a lot of this stuff I've gotten from a specific individual at their property that told me, I've got stuff buried in the dirt, go ahead and dig it out if you want it. So I've been excavating. Make a joke, it's my private claim here in Wheat Ridge, but I want you to see this because I had 4 rocks laid out the other day. I had gone and gotten some more rocks, thinking this may be coral, but then again it could be a piece of petrified wood, but I don't think so. This looks like coral to me just based on this end. But the point is, it has the distinctive lines in it and the distinctive star sunshine pattern, whatever, right there radiating from the center. And I had left 4 rocks sitting in a row out of a bunch of stuff that I was setting out and cleaning, and these were in the mix that I wanted to save, and this was one of them. And then underneath the bench out front, where I saw the Sasquatch initially, where he always leaves me things, I think, found this piece of wood, but see how it has a similar radiating star pattern in the middle? You know, those are the little subtle things where it's like, okay, this guy's watching. They're out there, they notice what's going on, and they see me manipulating the environment and changing things, or I leave them rocks and different things. In fact, here's a really cool story. You know, I've got all this random, just little whatever, right? So I had this little crescent moon shaped cut crystal. I don't know if it was an agate or was a crystal. It was completely clear, and somebody had cut it on a saw. And coincidentally, it was a crescent moon. And so as I'm feeding them recently, I left it out, and that night it got taken. Can't find it still, and a hair clump was left for me, another hair clump. So when they get something they really like, I've been gifted a couple pieces of hair out there a couple times, so it just makes me wonder what's really going on sometimes. But you know, you see that subtleties, and that's just left in recognition of him saying, I see what you're doing. Look, is it this? I don't know. You know, it's just interesting to think. But when he took that crescent moon crystal, I was like, wow, I just knew he might appreciate that. I've always had a theory about them and the moon cycles, and I don't know, everything that they believe in and what their rituals are, you know what I'm saying? But they've got to hold nature sacred, and the moon cycle is something that when you're connected to nature, you're going to use either for the light reflection hunting purposes or hiding purposes, or could be a lot more to that. They could know astrology. It could be a reference to space. I actually left it next to a sand dollar, which is a, you know, kind of a fossil, if you will, of a sea creature that's left. You find them on the beach, they're completely round. So I left that contrast between a full circle and then the crescent, and I even cut a slice off a round apple that was completely round, pardon me, and left that the next night, just like in recognition of the moon cycles, just making a reference, you know. That's the subtle language you can speak on this communication with the Bigfoot. You know, it's not going to be vocal, but doing it through symbology, if you will, is kind of interesting. That seems to be how they communicate with me. I've left them paper and a pen. I'm not getting anybody scribbling messages to me overnight for me to wake up and read. And believe me, I've tried it in numerous places. So I don't know what's going on up in Canada. But Sasquatch likes dry erase markers, I guess, up there. Hopefully they're not, you know, anyway, interesting thoughts. But this is the way that I've noticed the communication has gone with the Sasquatch. And it's subtle, but if you know how to read into it, it's pretty obvious and blatant. So that's just why I document this stuff, so people can take it into consideration. And you might have things like this happening on your property. And, you know, I saved this, but I didn't bring it in for days. I kind of left it out there, hung it where I could see, that let him know that I recognized, you know, that I moved it and I hung it in a particular way. But then it was in my thing of rocks for a couple days, and I thought, I better actually take care of this because it was meaningful to me. But sometimes you just kind of take it for granted, you know? So trying to not do that and trying to make it a special occasion. I've had them have a few different manipulations where they, like they peeled, they left me a piece of peeled bark that was long, that was removed off the stem one time of a live tree. They've left me another one that was peeled with just the tip, round bark around it, and he stuck it underneath a piece of flagstone, between two pieces of flagstone. So I kind of know where he's like entering, and it's beyond the view, I guess, in the pickup of the Ring doorbell camera, which I don't think picks up stuff kind of beyond the water fountain per se outside the front door. So I think there's this little back area that he can kind of come and look at my stuff, and if I leave stuff out there, he can see it. And so he's letting me know. But that's the subtle communication and things, etc., that they do. So thanks for checking it out.